Hello there, everybody, and welcome to
God Culture.
Game of Thrones is good. I'm joined today by Tormund Medium's Bane, Simon Gallagher, and the Orange-ish woman, Ash Millman. Say hello, everyone.
Hello everyone.
What the hell happened then? Where do we even start with that? I normally like to place these out. So we go like scene to scene, beat to beat, story to story. We can work through it in a nice, logical way. How do you even... You can't really. It's one scene for the entirety of the entiretiness.
Yes.
What did you think? Before we start getting into the nitty-gritty, what are your immediate thoughts as like a reaction to the Battle of Winterfell?
Wowzers.
It was a
Wowzers,
wowzers.
yeah,
I had a big open mouth moment, maybe one or two times, and then afterwards when thinking about it, I wasn't sure if I loved it as much as I did in the moment.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
I think that's very, very apt.
Yes, it was very exciting in the moment. It was all very, ooh, what's going on here? And then when you think about it afterwards, it's like, oh, actually, there's some problems. I would
Yes.
say.
What were your expectations going in? What did you want to happen?
All wrong. If you read anything that I've written,
Yeah.
I haven't.
I know. Doesn't surprise me at all. Apart from like two tiny predictions that I said, they were like throwaway ones. Those ones were right.
My favourite one of your predictions was that people would come back from the crypts.
Yes.
And it would be a big
But they'll be
important plot
good.
point
Yeah.
rather than just a couple of arms coming out of
and
caskets.
that they would be good and that the direwolves come back to life headless and chew everyone with their no mouths, but that didn't happen. They just came and murdered a few no-names and hoid back off
I
again.
felt terrible that I didn't get time last week to record that headless direwolves
I'm glad.
video. And but as soon as it got around, I was like, I haven't even seen any of these statues he's been on about. So
Yeah.
No, they were from a completely different episode, so that was
there you
good.
go. Did you expect more major character deaths?
Yes.
Because it seems to be that's going to be the major talking point about this: who lived, who died,
I would say
specifically
so.
who didn't die.
I don't think it was wrong for them to kill the amount of people that they did, or the people that they did. But I did expect them to do more.
I
Because
thought
it's
they would
Game
go
of
further
Thrones.
with it. Yeah.
In the olden days, they used to kill like a main character in every single set piece.
Yeah.
These ones, about the most main characters, Jorah.
Yeah, Jorah's the big one.
And up until this point, well, Theon. I
Theon felt
suppose,
like the
yeah.
bigger one to me.
I don't know, but he's felt timely. It felt like he needed to do that because he just had all that time.
He felt like he was in the right place to die.
Yeah, it didn't feel like major because it felt like a solemn nod of a death. It didn't feel like no, he's been taken. Whereas Jorah, I was very much like, no, Khaleesi, save him.
Khaleesi.
Jorah was always his. If anybody's card was marked, it
Yeah.
was Jorah Mormont cast
Yeah.
out from Daenerys' service, gets back into it and gets grayscale, overcomes it all just to effectively die for her.
Exactly, I know, but he'd just done so much. I just wanted him to sit and be her hand and sit on the throne next to her and stroke her hair and plait it at night. Like I wanted that future.
The good
for
thing
them.
about him dying though is that she needs him as like a stress ball and to sort of balance out her ridiculousness that sometimes comes out, and now she doesn't
She
have
ain't
him.
got that now.
She's just gonna go.
She's gonna go. Has she lost another dragon? That's another thing that
Well, I
actually
wanted,
wasn't
I
clear.
wanted to clarify this. Is Rhaegal...
He's in the
deed?
trailer for episode 4.
Is he?
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So is Ghost. So they pretended that both of those characters died.
Ghost
in the
did.
episode.
See, because I thought I discovered a major plot point, because I was like, well, if Rhaegal dies when he lands and Jon quite neatly hops off him, 5 minutes later, your man's giving it this
Yeah.
again. Why aren't there two
Rhaegal
ice
doesn't.
dragons?
Yeah. No, it's just. It was. I think it was an attempt to add more peril, which it didn't really need.
No.
But then
Peril was plentiful, I think. in
Yeah,
that episode.
it's the same as Beric and Tormund almost dying on the wall, and then they immediately just show you that they haven't died. Like,
Yeah.
I still don't know where to start with this, but we'll try and do it. There was like a 10-minute intro, which is
like,
genuinely
silent passing of the camera
Yes.
between everybody,
the tensest few moments of television ever recorded, possibly.
without any action happening.
Yeah.
It is,
I don't know. I felt that it was going on a bit. Actually,
gratuitous.
yeah, I felt like they know we've been waiting 8 seasons for this, and like I'm happy that they played it out a bit, but it got to a point where I was like, I found myself thinking about something else and being like, oh crap, no, it's the Game of Thrones big moment.
I
Like,
don't know how you did
The,
that.
the mental image of you slouched on your sofa, Doritos dust all over your fingers, going, get on with it.
It was like 5 a.m. I was like, huh, what's going on? But yeah, no, honestly, still Doritos at 5 a.m. But I thought it was really good and really tense and really impressive, but maybe a bit much of it. A bit much.
Were we expecting? I don't know why I'm gonna try and do this, but I'm gonna try and go through it in the order the episode did, because how else are we gonna do it? They started with the Red Woman returning,
Yeah,
and
just out
lighting,
of nowhere.
and lighting everybody's swords on fire, which was a very cool. That was
It
the
is.
bit that got me like, oh, this is gonna be something.
I was
And then-
more
It is.
invested by
It
that
is.
point.
but then, as I think I don't know if you were referring to them when you said this on Twitter, but why did they Leroy Jenkins themselves?
It wasn't. Yeah,
I don't profess to be.
The Dothraki were initially like sort of introduced as these major, the most impressive warriors in the whole world, and since they've had nothing to do, they've just been sort of ruffians who like go off and they look smelly.
That's the only thing that I think about. I don't profess to be some master military general, but surely if you're in a big pitched open air battle, your most mobile unit, your cavalry, you shouldn't rush them forward as shock troops.
Into the dark.
Surely they're most useful if they're flitting around making up for...
Exactly. You're a tabletop gamer.
Yeah,
you both
but why would
you wouldn't do that, would you?
No.
Were they supposed to do that? Because nobody actually says go. They just kind of do. And then Jorah's like,
Jorah
has
does.
his sword.
does he? He gets it out, but I don't remember him like commanding them on.
He definitely told him to
If
go.
somebody set your sword on fire, you'd want to go as quickly.
Oh,
as
don't get me
possible.
wrong. I would if it transpired they had just gone, let's just get over it. I could understand that, yeah.
I'd back it.
But that was...
They needed to be out of the way because on paper they're too powerful to be involved in the fight for too long because they'll actually do more damage. So instead, you just make them go away straight away.
That was genuinely, as a visual image, them charging forward into the pitch
The lights
black
going off.
and then going off one by one by one was...
Yeah.
There were bits in this episode where I was like, I'm genuinely watching one of the most accomplished things ever put to TV. Now, we will get to the few issues we had with it later on, but in terms of a spectacle, from there on, the next, 45 minutes? I think literally from there to one or two of the clips in the crypt or Arya sneaking through the library is constant. It's just a constant pitched set-piece battle. Did it work for you two? Because it can be too much.
What I could see of it, there was a few darkness moments, but I thought it was an excellently paced battle, and I think they didn't fall into the trap of just going, look, there's those people smacking each other for 45 minutes. They had nuanced moments where it was drawn in, and then there was plot points amongst all of the havoc and everything that there would be in a battle. It was like when you had the Battle of the Bastards, and they very carefully played it all out, and it was wonderfully done. I thought that this was another exemplary piece of battle cinema that's up there with like the Helm's Deep stuff, you know.
It's longer than Helm's Deep, isn't it?
I think it's better than Helm's Deep in terms of
it's better
the
than Helm's
personal
Deep.
stuff that they did.
Well, I mean, in defense of Helm's Deep, that had 4 hours?
Yeah.
It's the second film, isn't it? So it had 3 hours from the first film and 1 hour from the second film to sort of build its characters. They've had 8 seasons of television. So that's understandable, but nonetheless, they could have had 8 seasons and you didn't care about the characters very easily. Everybody that they seemed to put in that battle was somebody you had a bit of stock in. There was nobody you were hoping died. I'm sure there's people out there like, I absolutely hate Theon. I'm really glad he got...
There will 100%, yeah. Especially Theon.
One thing, I thought was interesting. Remember last week's episode? I only just clicked on... I've only realised this on the way to work, and I've had to sit there with a really dark image trying to pick out who's in it. They're all sitting around the fire, right?
Yes.
Tyrion.
Yep.
Davos.
Yeah.
Tormund.
Yeah.
Pod.
Yeah.
Brienne.
Yeah.
Jamie.
Yeah.
Have I forgotten anyone?
Beric.
No, he's not in that team.
Oh, is he not?
He's not around the fireplace.
Not around the fire. He sat with the Hound.
The Hound.
So those people around the fire. Do you know what Tyrion says? Do you know what?
Wouldn't it be great if
I
they also
think we all might live. And I laughed watching that. Everybody in the scene laughs watching that. And just do a quick head count again. Tyrion. Pod. Alive. Pod. I said Pod. Pod alive. He sings the song. Pod alive. Jamie alive. Brienne alive. Davos alive. Tormund alive.
Yeah.
They actually telegraphed it all. All these major characters.
Do you know what?
God damn it, Game of Thrones!
And in the podcast, I said, wouldn't it be amazing if they were all still alive at the end?
But did we just laugh? Because there's no way they were all going to live. They're all. Some of them have totally completed their character arc. Some redemption stories were nearly done. Others were effectively becoming meat in a very delicious pie, and that they were a big character, but as people have run their course in terms of the show. There was a really good reason why every single one of them should be one of the major character deaths.
Apart from Tormund.
Apart from Tormund.
No, I actually agree. Apart from Tormund, I think he has more to offer because he's the free folk man, isn't he? So there's lots of stuff they can do with him afterwards. I think Brienne was at the point of chopping.
I definitely thought she was going to die.
So did I.
Because she had a
Her
wonderful,
or Jamie.
beautiful knighthood moment, which I cried all the time to until this moment. But yeah, that wasn't a very good sentence. But no, it was a lovely moment last week. So I thought that was just her with a big target on her forehead.
I thought so too.
And Pod was going to jump in front no.
I thought it was going to be a bit of a... I thought they would...
Pod saved her.
Everybody saved everybody
at
some point. I thought the reason they did the Brienne very obviously, look at us ending this person's story right before the battle, was so it was going to be a big switch. Like she was going to die and someone was going to save her in the process.
Yeah.
How did Sam live?
How did Sam live?
And
rolling around on the floor crying for a better part of an hour and not getting murdered.
there's a bit where one of them's lying next to him, and he sort of screams in anguish, and then loads of them pile on top of him, and John looks and then goes, "Nah, mate," and just continues. And yet he's still got out of that.
Davos as well. Davos is, by his own admission, not a fighter. He says he's got no military ability whatsoever.
He's got no fingers.
And he wasn't in the crypt. He wasn't hiding.
Yeah.
How does he live through that?
I think
He did stay on the wall
Yeah.
because his job was to do.
They
the
piled
beacon.
over the
I know,
walls.
yeah.
I think he was just there, literally, just to watch the Red Woman and be like, "You better be dead by the morning. You better be dead." Like I think that was what he
You
was
owe
doing.
me your death.
The whole battle, he was just watching it, going,
How did Varys survive the crypts?
How did any of them survive?
I know,
crypts?
yeah.
They should not have survived the crypts. They were quite small crypts.
They were quite
They
small,
also didn't have
quite
weapons, but they should have because they're all buried with their swords, and they forgot that and didn't give any of them swords,
narrow. Oh, well, they should also most of them not have had heads.
and also been dust.
Do you think by the way it was quite a bit of a cop out? They didn't. I mean, it was all the Starks coming back to life. You presume that both Ned and Catelyn are buried there.
Catelyn isn't.
No, well, in the books, she definitely isn't because she's thrown in the river, but it isn't even remotely addressed in this. So if they wanted to, they
yeah.
could have said she was. They could have said that Catelyn did send Ned's body back, not his head, but we don't know whether it got there. The only one we know for certain is in there who should have appeared is Rickon, because he's the only one who's like fresh.
Yeah. Oh god.
And that would have been that would have been good.
That would have been good with Sansa with a little dagger.
Yeah.
Oh, can we talk about Sansa and Tyrion having a moment?
It was a little moment, that wasn't it? But I mean, if you think you're going to die, you probably do all. It was just nice. It wasn't like
It was nice.
because she
It
had that
was.
little moment with Theon in the last episode where they were sort of like exchanging glances. You're like, does she?
No,
Does
that,
she?
no, that
Does
was
she?
brotherly love. 100%.
I know. I thought it was.
No,
like
it was
that as
it was a
well.
lingering. I know brotherly love in Game of Thrones is
Yeah.
a very grey area, but it was a lingering look for me.
I think this was different. I think this was very because they were married and had that all that, and they were so nice to each other. And then this was like a big throwback of them to be like, oh, actually, it wasn't that bad. Maybe we do like each other. And now I just want to see them married and living out and having a happy house on the hills.
Could happen.
I know it could still because they're all freaking alive.
Don't expect a happy ending for anybody.
But you say that though because you're saying because of everything we know of Game of Thrones, don't expect a happy ending.
But I'm just saying, don't. From now on,
don't
I'm
think
saying
it's
don't
not-
expect anything whatsoever because I keep being wrong.
Well-
I am basically Melisandre.
I think
every
one-
prediction I've done is just like no.
One thing that's interesting now is all the theories about this season seem to have centered around either the Night King or B,
Yeah.
the Battle of Winterfell, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And they're both done now. They're both in the book.
Oh.
So whatever. No, I have no predictions for the next 3 episodes. Just Cersei stuff.
I have some.
Oh, let's hear them then.
Yeah, let's come on.
So we're going to see more of Sansa versus Dany because of the whole
Yeah, that was-
dragon
that was sort of-
queen.
that was teased a bit.
And
Yeah.
Missandei was like, "What?"
Again, I want them to
Girl.
as well.
Yeah. We're going to see.
Why is Grey Worm not dead? Why? So
Honestly, he was like top pick. Him and Theon, my two that were going to die.
He was at the
But he's
front of the
hot.
thing.
Tell you what,
So hard.
if we live, let's run away together and it'll be all nice.
Yeah.
If we live, let's do that.
We'll get
I'll look
house,
after you.
Picket fence.
Yeah.
Few
By the way, I'm
children
just going to be in
that
the
were
very
stolen.
front row of this huge pitched
Yeah.
battle with what? I mean, what? Can you want to guess the number for last night? Because said, it's like 10,000 or 100,000.
At least 100 of them.
What did you make of the World War Z style sort of
There was
bumbling
There was
bodies on top of
exactly.
bodies on
the
top of
exact
bodies?
same shot
Yeah.
as them going over the wall was used. I hope it was an Easter egg.
That first shot where they've come out of the darkness for the first time, and it's not like ranks of undead running. It was
Terrifying.
like
Yeah.
almost like a cloud
One
of
big
them.
thing, yeah.
That was very Lord of the Rings as well,
That
though,
was
when all of the ghosts
terrifying.
come out of the boat. Like,
Yeah.
there was also a throwback to Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets PS1 game when Arya's in the library and the prefect bit, and you have to sneak around the bookshelves. Just saying.
Is that,
It
is that
is.
actually a callback to that?
It's
It is.
yeah. Let's say
It's
it is.
enough of
Is it
one.
just another sneaking scene in a library?
It is.
Yes, but it's definitely a throwback to that.
Okay, right. I'm still trying to find some structure to this. The battle starts,
Yes.
right? It does not.
Dothraki, goodbye.
Yeah, it does not go overly well.
No.
The Dothraki, basically Leroy Jenkins themselves, out of
Yes.
the equation straight away. The Unsullied don't seem to do too much better initially. Everybody seems to get overrun.
Yeah.
A lot of them die, and then it keeps
still
coming
quite
back
a
to
lot
them.
of them.
There's millions of them.
Well,
Yeah.
she got loads.
That is good.
She
But-
did get loads and loads and loads.
They were supposed to mostly be wiped out at the King's Landing.
I know, yeah.
Not King's Landing,
Yeah.
sorry, the Lannister house.
Well, perhaps she's been and bought more. I don't know if there's like.
I don't think there are anymore.
No. And the other big mercenary house has been bought up by Cersei.
That's true.
There is another one. The Salador. I've forgotten his surname. The pirate. Basically,
Yep.
he was involved and then disappeared.
Oh.
So he could.
He
He
could have
wasn't
been.
there, but he could have been there.
Would have been easy to address that if they were going to actually do that. So anyway,
Yes.
you got the Unsullied front and center. You've got the Free Folk, I think, on the right. I'm trying to think, and then you've got all the Northmen on the left, led by
Even though
Brienne.
there's no free folk left,
Well,
but there was.
well, they found some.
Yes.
Uh,
On the left, you have Brienne, Jaime, the Knights of the Vale.
Yep.
Even though still no
Yeah.
Rob and Aaron. Where on earth he is?
Well, little Robin
Nobody,
Aaron.
nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. But like they seem to have just left him in the Vale.
Yeah.
Probably still just hanging on to his mother's teat.
Yeah.
Oh, she's not going to be
Out-
going anywhere anytime soon.
Out of the moon door.
Yeah, out of the moon door. Out of the moon door sounds absolutely disgusting. I only just realised that. So again, we get about an hour of this solid. What were your any particular highlights
From
from
the
battle?
whole battle.
From the whole battle. The main bit of the battle before we started getting into.
Oh, not inside Winterfell.
If you want to include inside Winterfell,
Because my instant highlight of the whole battle is Lyanna Mormont.
Yeah, that's another death we've not addressed yet.
Yes. Although I predicted it. That was
Yes.
one of the things I actually got right.
All right, this is your flaming sword moment.
It was my only thing, yeah.
Go on then.
I thought, well, in the last episode, they made her totally dead meat by her going, I won't run away. Okay, well, you're dead.
But they made so many characters dead meat. They knighted Brienne.
Yeah,
they
but
had the little.
hers was
Gendry
the
got-
most telegraphed.
Really?
Gendry
Gendry
got his hole.
And then he said,
That's what he's gonna
I
say.
got told off. I've been saying get his hole too much on the channel, and people are like, that's absolutely disgusting.
That is
Please
gross.
stop. You say it.
I do not say get his hole.
Yeah, you do.
I say porked.
Oh.
That's
Gendry
better, isn't it?
porked then.
They porked.
Anyone seen this podcast? Go on, best bit.
Of the battle?
Yes.
You see, I was thinking
3
about.
years
I
later.
thought you meant of the podcast. I was like, I can't remember what was said. That you said something about Endgame, which is appropriate here, where it's hard to pick out single moments from that battle sequence
Yeah.
because it all seems to be one big moment, which is sort of the point. I really liked the lit up swords running into battle,
Yeah.
and then just being immediately like, no, that's not going to
Snuffed.
do anything.
Didn't last
Thought that was
overly long,
great.
then, did
No.
they? As I said before, I did like the way it wasn't just like, here are lots of running undead
Yeah.
people. There was this cloud of like
Surge.
bodies on top of, like a wave almost.
There's quite a lot of horror elements. Like
James
that was
James
one,
put
and
this in his
the-
ups and downs thing. It basically becomes survival. After the first sort of 10, 20 minutes, it becomes basically a survival horror
Yeah.
episode. Now, Ash is our resident horror expert.
Resident Evil.
There you
Yeah.
go. What did you make of that?
I thought it was great. I thought, again, the library scene is the most like tense horror moment that I would pick out from it. But the zombie surging in, very World War Z, very good. The way that they play with light and dark and everything is amazing, even if it does veer too much to darkness on some occasion. But that's the main pull of
A
it.
few people have made this complaint that this season so far has been incredibly dark, and depending on what kind of device or screen you're watching it on, parts of it are really hard to see.
Yeah.
I haven't had that personally. I've watched them all at home on telly in the pitch black.
Yeah.
So I've not
Which
really
is what
had
I
that.
did, and last night it wasn't as bad as that.
But I can imagine people, because some people get up dead early to watch them or just watch them during the day. And imagine if you're in a light
because
room,
their
that
eyes
must
don't
be
work at
Yeah.
that time
horrible.
in the morning.
No,
Everyone's
I've-
like asleep.
I've got a terribly cheap TV, so like watching the dark moments, it's all like patchy, if you know what I mean. Which is obviously my problem. It's not their fault, but that does play into it because
I've got a pretty all right TV, and I think that they. I almost have got a really good TV, and then I realised you were going to do that, and you've still done it, even though I've said that. I feel like some of the bits at the start were initially darker than we saw them as, and they lightened them up because there is the patchiness was there on some of the what you'd want to be the deeper blacks. I think they realised a little bit.
Good technical observation, that. You don't get that from other podcasts.
No.
Look, there's two parts of this episode, right? There is battle, spectacle, set piece, which I
Yes.
think we've covered. And then there is story.
Yes.
The story decisions they made. Now, a lot of people said, reason you didn't see the Night King in episode 2 is because he's off to King's Landing and it's going to be this big
He was not.
twist. I never really bought into that because I just thought it was a bit... It takes the stakes off this one a little bit.
I thought he was hiding because he knew he was going to die.
Interesting.
Because they like the link to Bran. I thought he just knew that if they were trying to bait him, and he wouldn't just walk into a trap.
What did you make of the sort of 2-on-1 mid-air dragon battle sequences?
I thought it was good. There's the most on the nose Game of Thrones moment ever is when Danny and Jon clash with each other, and it's like, well, that's just, you've foreshadowed what's happening in the next couple of episodes.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that.
It's really cool, and then like, oh yeah, I've just realised what that means.
There were a few moments in the episode where I was sat alone in my flat where you actually made a noise where I said words, and that got an oh god out of me because I didn't know which dragon it was at first. There was two seagulls, two kittiwakes on my walk in. They were genuinely doing the tangle thing in midair, and I was like, God, that is exactly how it looks.
Yeah. Oh, the one thing that made me speak noise was when after the whole dragon clash, I had 2 times as well. So there's the dragon clash to be like, oh my god, don't know which dragon it is, don't know who's winning. But it didn't last too long, so my heart was beating too fast for these poor dragons, and I was like, thank God, okay, the horrible one's gone. And then the other one was when Drogon landed with Dany. Dany hops off, and then he gets covered in the undead.
Oh, I was like, no!
Fly, you fools! I hated it.
That was as a set piece. That was a great little thing to do because it meant it was raining undead for the next sequence, which I just thought was really clever.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Imagine if you just sort of missed that bit when you were just falling out.
Yeah. Oh god, no, that shook me to my core because I was like, Drogon can't die. What's Dany without her dragons?
Yeah. I did say an actual real life swear when it was just Jon and the Night King, and then the Night King lifted his arms.
That was the other bit for me.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I didn't say oh no, I said a different word.
I wanted to talk about that bit specifically because after that sequence finished, there was yet another nick of time moment. There seemed to be a lot of them in the episode. Someone was definitely dead.
Yes.
But then, you couldn't see them off screen. They're just there to save them. There was a lot of that. I don't want Jon Snow to die. That would have been a bad way to go with the show. But I hate how many times he's now been like definitely dead.
Yeah.
And then not. And I just thought
he's up in Tormund numbers
as a narrative thing to do, to have him like again another stare down, because the third or fourth time the pair of them have like looked directly at each other, and I was like, right, this is it, the two of them. This is it. This is the fight. Great, and like look at the setting. Winterfell's burning around them. There's bodies everywhere. This is brilliant. And then he starts doing that. I was like, oh Jesus, this is the best thing I've ever seen.
Put your hands down.
This is brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, is he going to get to him? I was like, either the Night King's about to die, or Jon's about to die,
Yeah.
and whichever way it is, that is a brilliant bit of TV. There's a dragon. It's fine. She's got him. It's okay. And then he just walks off. I was just a bit. I felt like they should have followed through with that. It was such a really good thing to do, and then they just didn't give it.
Well, they didn't do the dragon. He got surrounded by the undead, and they couldn't make it to him, which was good. I have a question actually, as a Game of Thrones fan, but also unsure why the Night King did not get burnt by the dragonfire.
Well,
there are some theories about this.
there are many theories about this.
One of them is that the Night King is a Targaryen.
Yep.
Because Dany says, as Adam Cleary tweeted,
Yeah, I saw your
Targaryens
tweet.
don't get burnt. But that is in fact not true. Because Jon gets
you
burnt in the
idiot.
first series. And I think Dany believes that, but it can't be true because of the logic unless there's loads of plot holes.
She did walk into a fire that time.
I know she can't. She's special.
She's pure Targaryen.
It's not because she's Targaryen.
She's pure Targaryen though, because she's from the whole ancestral
That's
bloodline.
true.
Whereas
Our brother is as well, and he basically died because of fire.
no, he didn't.
No,
died
he didn't die
melted
because of fire.
gold.
He died because the thing melted his skull to his brain.
but we don't know whether
We don't know
it's
the
fire
exact
or
we
heat
don't know
or
the exact
whatever,
physics
what
of it,
killed-
granted.
yeah.
Well, dragonfire. Because dragonfire, they've established many times dragonfire is not regular fire.
Yeah.
That's true. But also, Bran was like, "We don't know if this is going to work."
It didn't. No one
Yeah.
ever tried it before.
Yeah.
That was, I don't know, man, because I think it was either you or James wrote in an article last week that we're just going to have to accept now that the TV show is not going to take the time to tie up as many of the lore loose ends as the books will if they ever come out. There's going to be certain things that we
believe
just
that was
don't ever get the answer to. A lot of them we've forgotten now. They don't seem important in the here and now, but the books will have to take time to do them. And just maybe the actual origin of the Night King is something they don't think's
I
that
genuinely
interesting.
don't think we're going to get an answer to that question.
I really would like one because it was so pointed. They didn't need to do that if there was not going to be an answer to it.
The answer to it was he's smirk. So it's basically just, nah, I'm much more powerful than you think I am.
But then a tiny little dagger's what's off
Exactly.
off him.
It's all bait and switch. This whole episode is bait and switch. Like the setup, the whole of episode 2 is bait. For everyone to die. Never happens.
Yeah.
And then so many moments in this are you think it's going to happen, and the opposite happens. There isn't one bit of payoff really.
Oh, sorry, we keep saying
Go
the same
on.
thing. Good. I feel like talking about the Night King, we've got to actually talk about him being the big root of it all and actually getting killed.
Well, we'll get that's the next thing I want to address.
Okay.
The immediate one.
I want to say Adam Cleary predicted this would happen in this episode.
Ne-
I'd like to shout him out.
nearly exactly.
Yeah. And me and James were like, "There's no way."
Yeah. Arya is, after everything, after all this setup, all this
Yeah.
build, the eight seasons worth of the Night King being the real evil, the problem that was going to have to be addressed all along, the biggest mythical everything in Game of Thrones, what it was all leading to this, now dead 3 episodes into season 8, as predicted by me, at the hands of Arya, as predicted by me. Now, you made an interesting point last night when we were in each other's DMs last night.
Yeah.
And we agreed.
That was this morning.
We
That
agreed.
feels like a long time
Well,
ago.
I then he said to you, "Oh, tomorrow's going to be interesting." Then I stopped and went, "No, I literally
2
am
hours
working in a
time.
couple hours yet." So, Arya, who, as Simon pointed out, didn't even know what a White Walker was 2 weeks ago.
About 2 weeks ago in her world.
Her story has never been around this. Her story's always been about her personal journey from being, the black sheep of the Stark family
Yeah.
who didn't want to wear the pretty dresses, wanted to swing a sword instead. Her story's never been about this,
It was
where
the kill
so
list.
many other characters have. John's story's been all about the Night King. Danny's, in a way, is now linked to him, or has been since she lost a dragon at the hands of it. So many other characters were, narratively nailed on to be involved in this, and it was Arya Stark.
The one that you would never
Now,
logically have picked
is
out.
that precisely why it was, or do you think there's another reason to it?
I don't think George R.R. Martin has written this ending in his books because all of the build-up, the stuff that you talk about where those characters are all linked to it, I think that's all Martin's stuff. And then the show wants to be different to Martin's ending. And I think everybody knows that Arya is the favourite now. It used to be Tyrion.
Yep.
And then Tyrion dropped as Arya's story got much more interesting exactly at the same time. And had it not been Arya, it would have been like Gendry or one of
should have
these
been Pod.
other, somebody who is an absolute banter fandom character.
Neville Longbottom
Tormund,
syndrome.
I'll fully admit, it would be like that, yeah. It was never going to be one of the...
Just for all, I said, like, John's had 3 or 4 stare downs with it.
Sam as well, could have been.
Sam would have been a good shout. Even Sam would have been a good shout
Yeah,
because
he killed the first White Walker.
he's the most unlikely. An unlikely character is a weird pick, but the most unlikely one is always in a way quite fitting. Like, John is just unable to get anywhere near the action. He's just trapped by a dragon. Can't really influence. He does have very little influence on the last episode.
It's plot armor, is what that is.
Yeah,
that's
but
why he
he
can't
just-
get through. He's trying to wade through all of this heavy ass plot armor.
For everything in all the other battles John's been in, the one at Castle Black, the Battle of the Bastards, he's always been the focal point because it is his show. It doesn't really do all that much.
If you were being clever as the writers, which maybe they are, you would say that the reason why he does that is because of Danny. So as soon as him and Danny get romantically involved, his sort of singular focus gets shifted sideways a little bit, and she goes to save everyone, and he says, "No, we have to wait here for the Night King," and she says, "The dead are already here," and he goes off with her, follows her, and ends up. He thinks he's going into the most important part of the battle, and ends up not in that. So you could say, well, Danny's poisoned his mind because he loves her too much.
That's all true, but in such a spectacle of an episode, in such a huge set piece, surely rather than doing this sort of slightly subtle, clever thing, you want to give the best payoff.
Oh,
You want
totally,
the best story.
I kind of think because we've had so much of Arya's really dry, faceless men training, and that she's spent so much time learning all these ways of fighting, and all that her whole arc is linked to death and the faces of death that she can wear. So for her to take down death itself actually is quite fitting because the Night King is death. So
she said she was most excited about seeing this version of death.
yeah,
I agree with that, but if you're doing it, you start building it a couple of seasons in, not like not 2 weeks ago where she goes, "So what is a White Walker then?"
yeah.
It
I
is.
guess.
It is interesting that you say she had that really extended period where there was no payoff. It might be that the writers were like, we need to sort of make up for the fact that we've done this to her. Okay, we'll overcompensate massively and give her the one big thing at the end.
What was your reaction at the moment? You sort of hear a little shriek. He catches her in midair.
Yeah.
I thought, this is amazing.
I thought-
I don't think it's amazing anymore. That
Oh,
was my
really?
exact reaction.
My mouth was open, like I was proper O-faced
because I thought she was going to die.
I thought
Yeah. Oh,
I would have liked her to die at that point. I mean, that's an awful thing to say about.
Don't get me. Thing is, old Game of Thrones, he just
What do you call
snaps
it?
her neck and drops
Yeah.
it to the ground. Like if this was, I think if this was still being written by Boathouse Sex Case George R.R. Martin, like that's the last you ever see of her, and it's like, oh, she's gonna get him. Nope.
I don't know.
My reaction at the time was,
enjoyed
I was
it.
like, and then she slowly drops the knife,
Yeah.
and genuinely, I was like,
No,
and
yeah.
she gets him, and I nearly cheered. I nearly like jumped up and like cheered. But then, as you said at the start of this, my reaction watching it in the moment, and
Yeah.
my reaction actually sitting down and starting to think about it is quite different. And it was, as soon as I messaged you, I was like, what's that actually? That is weird.
The fact that all of them...
James wasn't very impressed with it.
Oh, wait.
Sorry.
Grass.
But no, the fact that all of them died in one like fell swoop. Lots of people were saying that it would be rubbish if the Night King was the actual core and everyone crumbles around him because it's such an easy way out. And I don't know how I feel about that personally because they've said the whole time that's what's going to happen. But I don't know. Thinking about that, we're halfway through the season. The whole northern plot story's done with one tiny dagger in the gut of a strange man. It's just. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know.
It's kind of interesting. That's the dagger that was originally used to try and assassinate Bran.
Yeah, of
and
course.
then now it's sort of been used to save him and everybody else. I guess if you want to try and find like clever ways why this works, there are there because Game of Thrones is so
absolutely.
You could have found really clever ways if it was like Beric had done it, or if literally anybody had killed him. You could probably go back far enough and find ways that's interesting and ways that does make sense. But all those stare downs between Jon and the Night King had effectively no payoff.
But maybe it's a parallel because now Jon's going to rack up a whole northern force to try and take over Dany, and it's like him and the Night King are not so different after all.
Well, I mean, we have no idea where it's going to go from here, which is the most interesting part. Everything, as I said before, everything we speculated about this season is now done. The Battle of Winterfell's done. The army of the dead are defeated.
It does a very clever thing for the Cersei story. So, the further away you shift the Night King ending from Cersei's ending, the more Cersei becomes even bigger as a threat from the Night King. So you've got 3 whole episodes now, and you're like, well, if that guy was that bad, imagine what she's going to be like.
Hopefully.
It's like when you go into a fight and you break your own fingers and you go, I do this myself. What do you think I'm going to do to you?
What?
Does that ever work?
I was just,
No,
I've never been in a
got really bad fingers. But you know what I mean.
Well, go on then.
Maybe you don't.
Yep.
No, but I mean, it escalates without Cersei doing anything whatsoever but it also sort of builds hype.
We haven't seen it for 2
almost
episodes
catastrophically for her.
I miss her.
She's pretty great. She's a lot better than the Night King as a character because she's a character.
Yeah.
She isn't a walking like.
I nearly thought the Night King was going to speak in this, and I was like, please.
Yes,
do that.
there was a
Please do that.
bit where he was like,
I'm just going to quickly touch on the music because you said you thought the music for this was. I thought it was perfect up to a point. When he gets to Bran, the music should have stopped.
Also went on a bit long. That was another bit that went on a bit long for me was the music.
I just thought it's just. I watched it twice in fact, I watched that scene 3 times in a row, but I watched the whole thing twice in a row, and it's unbelievable. The first time you watch it, I know, yeah. The first time you watch it, you can't concentrate on the music properly because you're like, oh my god, this is all happening and I can't do anything with myself.
Yeah.
The second time, you can pay attention to the music, and it's like, it's so well constructed. I do agree that it should have paused even slightly for that moment.
Yeah.
But it's like the Light of the Seven in the Sept of Baelor.
Yeah.
The build up from. It builds in the background like 2 minutes before you even notice that it's started. And then you're like, that piano's been there for ages. And then the strings come in. And then that's the point of no return. Let's see.
God, why is it always degenerated in knob gags, doesn't it,
It does.
eventually?
It does. It's
Overall,
all cuts in the end.
I didn't even catch that one.
Point of no return? No, you wouldn't understand, actually, to be fair.
No.
Overall, I will say, I think my mini review of this is that it's simultaneously the most spectacular, impressive, blow me away, captivating episode of TV ever recorded by any TV show. But at the same time, I do think narratively it was. I need another word than underwhelming.
Yeah, it's not underwhelming.
Because it's not underwhelming.
It's not underwhelming, but
No.
and it's not disappointing either, but it is a deviation from the norm for Game of Thrones.
I'll put it this way, the spectacle of it, which was always going to be the thing it should never have been able to live up to.
Yeah.
You know, all these stories about
I'd paid off completely.
55 days, biggest battle ever. The spectacle should never have been able to live up to the hype. And it exceeded it. Whereas the story should have been the thing that did, and it kind of just about didn't.
Ooh, I feel like I'll have more opinions on whether it was good or not in the whole of the season.
Yeah, once you got the context of season 8, we'll know whether or not it was all good.
that's what makes
that's
or
a very
breaks
good
it.
point because I think if you watch 1, 2, and 3 as a threesome,
Oh, there's a double wink there.
Yeah, the build
It's
up.
called a blink, Ash.
The build up makes up for the fact that the story's not like that because there's so much story that came before
Oh,
this.
God, yeah.
And I think in isolation, it doesn't
Are
quite
you
work.
slightly sad that we're watching this episodically week on week and not just binging it? Because I think if had I
I think
binged
I would have died
had
if
I
I'd watched
binged
that.
those 3 episodes,
episodes, I would have actually just expired.
Always watched it episode by episode. I was there on
All of them,
I was on the
forever?
train at the beginning, baby. No, I actually
Wow.
was. Yeah.
season 6 for me.
Really?
Anyway, any final thoughts on this?
I'm so glad that Tormund is alive.
Right.
That's the most important part.
I'm glad Lyanna Mormont got an absolutely badass death and lived up to it.
What was your favourite moment in the
That's what I'm
entire
glad
thing?
of.
The entire battle.
Entire episode.
My favorite thing in the entire episode. I've already mentioned it like 3 times. Just the visual start
Yeah.
of we've still got all the dread, and then say, "Oh, we're gonna get them," and then the lights go out one by one. Just thought that was some of the best TV I've ever seen.
Very, very clever.
Also, is just lifting everybody
Yeah.
up. That was. Again, another bit where
was
I wanted
for
to
me.
stand up and applaud, even if it was a bad payoff to I don't know. It was just visually, I loved it. There's so much I want to say about what this episode does, whilst at the same time,
Yeah.
what it doesn't do, if you know what I mean. But we'll get on to that because there'll be loads and loads more content, I am very, very sure. But in the meantime, that's it from us here on the Got Culture Recap podcast of episode 3. What was episode 3 called?
The Long Night.
The
The
Long
Long
Night. Oh, God, it was as well.
There's another one for you.
Hey, thanks, Ash,
Yeah.
very much. Yep, I've been Adam, this has been Si, this has been Ash. You can like, share, and subscribe if you want. I don't know, it's your life. But in the meantime,
Please.
thanks so much for watching. We'll be back soon. Should we tell everyone what our Twitter handles are? They will be on the screen.
At Gallagher. Oh,
Whoa.
it's gone well.
You weren't sure there.
I wasn't.
At Ash Millman.
I think about that. At Adam Cleary, Clery. But thank you so much for watching. We will see you next time and probably before. And God, that was a lot, wasn't it, emotionally?
It was very.
Yeah, I feel a bit upset.
I'm tired. Bye.
Bye.
Melisandre getting her tits out one last time while she died is the most Melisandre.
Oh my god,
Oh,
yeah,
forgot-
that cake
died.
fell off.
Oh.
Yeah.
Forgot to mention, like, the last time I said something out loud. You can stick this on after the credits if you want. You know, she's like wandering through in the snow, and then she just does that. I just
Yeah.
sat there and went, same.
Yeah.